I have rated this content E for everyone. Hello Internet, welcome back to the Digital Age Monster Club. My name is Mark, and this is Minecraft Monday. Finally, time to talk about Aquatica. And, I'm looking forward to this. So, the amount of stuff that they put in the game, even with the just exploring and general fumbling about that I've been doing, it's a lot. So I'm going to use the list that I've got here and kind of go through it one at a time to explain all this stuff to you. But it's got some pretty interesting additions so far, and I'll be finding a good way to make use of them. So first of all, we've got some new trapdoors, pressure plates, and buttons for the kind of wood that we got. We've got coral blocks, which are these things. You've got corals, which is this. Coral fans, which is this. Dead coral and dead coral fans, which look like this. And by the way, the coral fans can be applied to the sides of blocks. You have prismarine stairs and slabs, which took them long enough to do. You have kelp, which is this right here. Kelp can be broken at the bottom, and the whole stalk will drop, and can drop kelp. Items in water now flow to the surface, so take that in mind when you do this kind of stuff. We have the addition of seagrass, which needs to be mined with shears, or collected with shears, because it can be used to breed turtles, which I mentioned in the previous video. Then we have dried kelp blocks, which looks like that, and that can be used as a fuel source in a furnace. We have sea pickles, which light-emitting colonies. They can grow up to 4. You can just break them to get them. It is basically another addition for emitting light underwater. Not as powerful as... Oops. Nowhere near as powerful as a sea lantern, unless it's a big colony. Oh, and as for the kelp, if you take kelp as it is, dry it in a furnace, you can eat the kelp. Kind of obvious, but need to be said. They also included turtle eggs, which will spawn turtles when they hatch, and that takes a few in-game days to do so. When the turtles break free from the egg, they drop scute, as it is called, which is this thing right here. The scute can be crafted into a helmet, so let me show you. So you get a turtle shell. That's what it's called. Not the greatest thing ever, but just kind of amusing, mostly. They included something called blue ice, which is basically the ice found on the bottom of icebergs, which have also been added into the game. It is 9 packed ice in a square. Apparently you slide very quickly on this stuff, or move faster. Apparently it's 4.1 seconds to go from 0 to 100 blocks on blue ice, so you slide around. They included something called a conduit, which I don't even know how to describe this thing really, except as a passive weapon kind of thing. It's a block. When activated by placing a specific configuration of blocks around it, gives nearby players the conduit power status effect and attacks hostile mobs. I'm not even going to go into crafting that, because that is its own thing. But, or that the full conduit that attacks it. Crafting a conduit comes from it is 8 Nautilus shell around 1 Heart of the Sea. The conduit power is affects players in contact with rain or water by providing a spherical range of 32 to 96 blocks. The effect is it stops the breath meter from decreasing, gives underwater night vision, increases mining speed. So it's pretty flippin' powerful. And something I'd be very interested in getting my hands on in survival mode. But it's got a bit of a setup to it that's just trying to read how it's supposed to be set up is ridiculous. And that's a lot of detail. And then there's also the inclusion of bubble columns created by magma blocks or soul sand in water. So magma blocks will create a downward current, and soul sand you can't fight that current, right? So you actually have to move out of it. Soul sand will actually pop you up, push you upwards, I should say. Then we have some new items. Now, the Nautilus shell that I mentioned before is a treasure item from fishing. They are dropped by 3% of drowned, which are a new mob added into Aquatica. And I'll show them. Drowned will spawn with a Nautilus shell that will always be in their offhand, and they will always drop it when killed. Definitely want to get your hands on some of those. Then you have Heart of the Sea. Can be found in all buried treasure chests in stacks of 1. And this is something you definitely want to get your hands on. Since the Nautilus shell and the Heart of the Sea are used for creating the conduits. And that's actually, now that I think about it, the conduit would be the great counter to Guardians in the Ocean Temple. If it's giving you that kind of power underwater. Now, as for fish, we have pufferfish, raw cod, raw salmon, tropical fish. These can be found or gained by fishing. You can also, well, you're supposed to be able to just take a bucket and get them, but since I'm in creative mode, I don't think that's working quite right. But the bucket of cod, pufferfish, tropical fish, and salmon, it doesn't really have a giant use, just if you catch a fish using the bucket method, I recommend not doing it near water since it will just flow right back on water. If you kill that spawned mob fish, it will just drop itself as the fish in question. So it's actually a kind of faster way of getting your hand on fish directly, but you gotta get it right. You have to actually catch the fish still. But you'd want a lot of buckets to do it that way. So fishing is still probably faster. Now as for spawn eggs, we've got pufferfish, cod, salmon, dolphins, tropical fish, which apparently there are 2,700 varieties because of their color and patterns on them. So if you're into collecting stuff, good luck with that. And of course, turtles. I love my turtles. But they didn't really add in hostile animal mob, except for the phantom, which is more of a magical creature. Dolphins, when killed, drop some fish. Turtles, when killed, drop seagrass. I don't recommend either method as a good way of farming, since it doesn't take a lot of materials to fish with a fishing rod. As for hostile mobs, we have phantoms and drowned. Now the drowned give off a gargling sound that makes it sound like they're drowning or just gargling water, however you want to say it. It's a underwater zombie variant. Drowned will spawn naturally in ocean biomes, all variants, except the warm ocean, and in river and swamp biomes. Bedrock edition only. Spawn throughout body of water, will not spawn above sea level. Since it's a zombie, it does die in daylight, because you can hear it. You have a chance to spawn with either a trident or a fishing rod, and occasionally with a knotted shell. Small chance of spawning while riding a chicken. And even after drowning as a zombie, creating a drowned chicken jockey. Cannot spawn naturally with any armor. And you can turn a zombie into a drowned by keeping it in water. Not in a boat, but in water continuously for 30 seconds. Okay, so dumb. At which point it begins converting into a drowned. Now, drowned behavior is they throw tridents, if they have them. They will use it every 1.5 seconds. They're not enchanted, but they can throw it continuously as if it was enchanted with loyalty, which will basically return... If you have the loyalty enchantment on a trident, it will return the trident to your hand once you throw it. Or after it's finished moving. They intentionally stomp on turtle eggs, attack baby turtles, attack villagers and iron golems. They do have a melee attack, but it's fairly weak. And drowned will swim to a player, but only when the player is in water near them. If you're in a boat above them, they don't really care about you. So, this is a mob that you can pass by in the water without actually interacting with. They are not difficult to kill or defeat, acting much like regular zombies. Now, phantoms. A phantom is an undead flying mob that will attack a player that has not entered a bed for 3 in-game days or more. And it spawns at night. It does not like daylight. The end of its wings are weird. It glitches it cancels any texture of transparent blocks between you and your line of sight, or what's in your line of sight. So you can see, as it passes over the water blocks, you can see the dirt block as if it was in day. And you can see right there that it was starting to burn up in daylight, because it's a night creature. And phantoms drop phantom membranes. Low chance. But those are used for potions of slow falling, or arrows of slow falling. And potion of slow falling I mentioned in my enchanting video, or my brewing video rather. Damn, dolphin, you are loud. So the player falls at a much slower rate and not takes damage when hitting the ground. You can also jump almost 6 blocks when sprinting with this effect, and you don't affect crops when you're jumping on them when you are under the effects of this potion. And you also have the, since I'm talking about that, potion of the Turtle Master. The potion of the Turtle Master applies minus 60% speed on you, but resistance 3, which is I think plus 40% damage resistance. So it's a trade-off on, if you want to stay in one area and defend it, this is a good one to drink. And Turtle Master potions are created using the turtle shells mentioned that you get from the skewt. You can also apply the slow falling and Turtle Master to arrows. Now, as for the trident, you can put a few enchantments on it. You can put, for the trident, you can put a few enchantments on it. You got Unbreaking, Loyalty, Impaling, Channeling, and Riptide. So Unbreaking is greater durability. Loyalty will return the trident to your hand once it either stops moving or it hits an object. Basically, same thing. Impaling ups the damage it does, and channeling allows you to call a lightning strike down on a hostile mob if the trident hits the mob during a thunderstorm. So if the mob is in, or player is in water or rain during a thunderstorm and you hit it with the trident that has channeling on it, you can call a lightning strike on them. So this is one way of actually creating zombie pigmen or supercharged creepers in the overworld. And then, Riptide is a means of fast transportation. You also need to be either in water or rain, and if you use your trident, charge your trident up, when in water or raining, you don't let go of the trident, you will instead travel with it. So you can actually reach heights and move at greater speed. Kind of interesting. It's not something I personally would use. I don't have a problem with getting around in this game, especially underwater, or even underwater. However, Riptide, we need to mention, it's exclusive with loyalty and channeling, but as you can see, loyalty and channeling are not exclusive with each other. So, you gotta choose. There's one other status effect type thing that they've added into the game, apart from the conduit power, slow falling, turtle stuff. Something called Dolphin's Grace, and unfortunately there isn't a... It's not considered an effect, as no effect icon is shown, is how they're saying this. It's only usable by, or only attainable by players, and apparently it increases swimming speed. I have not witnessed this effect firsthand, unfortunately, so I can't speak to how well it is, how good it works. But it is something they apparently added into the game. So they added in few biomes. You've got warm, lukewarm, and cold variants of the ocean and deep ocean biomes, as well as a deep frozen ocean biome. They divided up the end into separate biomes. You have floating, medium, high, and barren islands. They've generated new structures. So there is sunken shipwrecks, or just shipwrecks, there's sunken shipwrecks, and there's also underwater ruins. Now, underwater ruins typically have a better chance of spawning magma blocks and drowned, but the ruins and shipwrecks typically a good chances of generating a buried treasure map. So this is what a sunken ship can look like, and inside is a chest, unfortunately. Whoop. Now, sunken ships can be upside down, broken in half, just kind of crazy. Reflecting real effects that happen to actual ships when they sink. They've also added in underwater ravines and underwater caves. Ooh. So this is part of the new update. You have icebergs. And this is the blue ice I was talking about. That's regular packed ice, and if you combine that in a 9 square on a crafting grid, you get blue ice. Now, as luck would have it, and because I'm an idiot and just remembered it, I found a second buried treasure map which mirrors this one, but it's still level 1, and I just remembered that I can copy maps by having an empty map in my hand. There's some mechanic for it. But this one tells me that the buried treasure should be around here somewhere. And it's not supposed to be hidden very deep. Not supposed to be. There it is. Alright, so that's what a buried chest looks like. You got a bit of a variance with the area. It's going to take some time to dig it up. Now, there is one more structure that's added to the game. Unfortunately, I have been unable to find it, and that is the actual coral reefs. I know it's a thing, but I just don't. Luck is not that kind to me. So, I would gladly have shown you if I had it. Then there's the last thing for this is there's a few changes to the game. Mango blocks generate in ocean biomes, causing downward bubble columns. Dropped items now float towards the surface. There's a new horse model. There's a new water texture. Item frames can be placed on the floor and the ceiling. Squids now shoot ink when attacked. So you hit a squid, it creates ink. And it kind of scoots away. Man, you went fast. Player's oxygen no longer instantly generates when out of the water. Changed underwater visibility. Shulker boxes can now be undyed using a cauldron, which is a end item. And my new favorite thing, take a banner, use it on an anvil. Change the name to Green Banner or Home, whatever you want to say. It's going to cost an enchantment, but one level, who cares? Place the banner down somewhere. So I'm going to place it over here. And grab a map. Click on the right-click on the banner with the map. And now the banner shows up on your map. So now you can actually mark places on your map, which I've been waiting for 4 or 5 years. Mods have come out that allow you to basically have like a mini map, and you can set waypoints and stuff like that. The beacons were the next big thing, or the closest thing, I should say, to this mechanic. But you still had to be in visual range of the item and an idea of where you were going. Maps, you can carry a bunch of maps around with you and then go, okay, that spot's that, that spot's that, that spot that, blah, 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 blah. So now you can do large area exploration and mark out, Ocean Temple, Woodland Mansion, Nether Portal, mob spawns, ocean or biome locations. You can point out specific resources you're going after, whether it's flowers or grass or like jungle, wood for the cocoa beans or cacao. What are they called? Cocoa beans, yeah. Mark out spots on deserts where you find cactus or the dead shrubs you can grab sticks from. However you want to do it. This is something that's going to make it a lot easier to do open world exploration. It's my favorite survival addition to the game is what this is. But that is pretty much it. I won't go over every single thing because you learn by doing. That's how the human learning experiences worked for millennia, and if I tell you everything, then you don't get to learn things for yourself. So I look forward to seeing people using the soul sand and magma blocks for platforming and new game mechanics, shooting people out of the water, creating undertows and stuff like that. I look forward to all the brightly colored creations that coral blocks add in. Look forward to people setting spooky themes with the pickle colonies or whatever they're doing. And it's a big update that's gonna change the game a bit. But I like it so far. It's kind of cool. So, thank you for joining me for this video. Hope you found it informative. Hope I covered everything that you were hoping to hear. And I hope you come back for more videos. I know I used hope like 4 times, but I like to hope. So, until you come back, take care.